Welcome to the first ever Puck Talk CS State of the Union. What is the Puck Talk CS State of the Union, our listeners might ask? We're going to objectively look at the 2021 and 2022 season by going over the trophy winners, who won these trophies, who led the league in points, goals along the regular season, the playoff stat category leaders for the 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll then detail our journey a little bit of what it took to come back at the end of 2021 to get things going in 2022, our return and what we thought were our strengths and what Steve and I thought were the strongest points and our strongest takes from this season, important dates for 2022 and 2023. That includes the scheduling, events that are going on during the NHL regular season for 2023, and early predictions and hot takes for that season as well. We'll also be detailing our slate and how we're going to approach the 2022-2023 NHL season and our goals to go along with that, what we thought our strengths were. We will have detailed before that, and then our goals will be more what we're looking to do and accomplish with the next NHL season. We're going to talk about our real lives for a little bit and the reality of where we're coming from. And of course, we're going to be detailing where you can follow us and how you could subscribe to us at the end of the State of the Union. Steve, I know we've been talking about this for a long time. I'm very excited to share this with our listeners and subscribers.
Oh, I can't wait too, everyone. This is our first annual State of the Union. End up to wrap this year, preview a little bit of what's to come for next year. And like what Chive said, this is a brand new piece that we've never done before. We've never worked on this before. And Chives and I couldn't be more prouder and more excited to hold our first ever Puck Talk CS State of the Union for you guys. And right off the bat, seeing our faces is probably the first notable difference, as you guys don't really see our faces during the episodes all season long. So, and listen, we keep it 100 with you guys. We really are just two guys speaking our passion behind the mic. So I'm excited to wrap up Puck Talk CS season 4 and review this NHL year as a whole, review where we are at standing at Puck Talk wise. And listen, let's just take a second to reflect through all the ups and downs this year in our lives, in Chives' life, in my life, and in the NHL as a whole. Not to remind people, but the NHL played through a whole COVID season this year. We had so many games that were postponed and canceled throughout the year earlier on. And we really didn't know what to expect coming into this season. And I'm sure every hockey fan is glad to see the Stanley Cup playoffs go as planned. So listen, for the last time in season 4, Chives, let's talk some puck. And I just mentioned the Stanley Cup playoffs. They went as planned. We finished the Stanley Cup playoffs, and every fan is happy that we did that. And there is a crown winner at the end of the season. And this year, it was the Colorado Avalanche. Boy, it's been a hell of a year, Chives.
Starting us off, Steve, love the cue in. One last time for this year. Stanley Cup champion. We're going through the trophy winners now. Keep it objective, keep it simple. Colorado Avalanche, one of the more dominant performances we've ever seen in the playoffs, at least in the last few, I would say a generation, last 2 decades. NHL regular season record for the Avalanche, 56-19-7. Their playoff record, a whopping 16-4. Again, one of the best performances we've seen in a long time. Conn Smythe Trophy winner, Cale Makar, 8 goals, 21 assists, 29 points. That is incredible. For the top trophies in the NHL for the regular season performances, the Vezina Trophy was taken home by Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers. The Norris Trophy by Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. What a year he had. The Selke Trophy, Patrice Bergeron of the Boston Bruins. The Calder Trophy for Best Rookie, Moritz Seider of the Detroit Red Wings. The William M. Jennings Trophy, split between Frederik Andersen and Antti Ranta of the Carolina Hurricanes. The Mark Messier Leadership Award by Anze Kopitar of the LA Kings, and the President's Trophy, winning Florida Panthers. They were eventually eliminated in the second round by the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions at the time, Tampa Bay Lightning. Steve-O, who are our regular season point leaders?
Well, Chives, this was a outstanding regular season for offense. This is a very offensive heavy year in the regular season. So for point leaders, we had Connor McDavid of the Oilers. He had 123 points. Our goal leader, No surprise, of course, Austin Matthews. Everyone has heard his 60-goal season. Assists, Jonathan Huberdeau of the Florida Panthers. He had 85 assists. In terms of block shots, we had Brandon McNabb of the Vegas Golden Knights, 179 block shots, which came in key this year as they had a lot of goaltending issues up and down the lineup. So they got some help from McNabb out this year. Hits was Radko Gudas from the Florida Panthers, 355 hits. Our goals against leader in terms of percentage was Igor Shesterkin of the New York Rangers. His was 2.07. He was also our save percentage leader in the regular season. He had 0.935. And our shutout leader in terms of sticking with goaltenders was Jacob Markstrom of the Calgary Flames. He had 9 shutouts. So it was also a very good year for goaltenders. And Igor Shesterkin and Jacob Markstrom led that list as well. Chives, now let's move on from the regular season to the postseason 2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. Who was leading the categories in points, goals, in net too? Save percentage leader, who we got?
2022 Stanley Cup playoffs. So to run it, point leader, Connor McDavid, 33 points, eliminated in the conference final where they didn't even win a game. Crazy. Goals leader, Evander Kane of the Edmonton Oilers. Nathan McKinnon tied with him with 13 goals for the Colorado Avalanche. He won the Stanley Cup on that roster. Assist leader, Leon Draisaitl, Edmonton Oilers, the 2-man up in Edmonton, or the 1A, 1B if you really want to. We've debated that for a long time. He had 25 assists. That's incredible. And the save percentage leader was a surprise in Jake Ottinger with a 954. He went off in that 7-game series where he eventually fell in game 7 overtime to a Johnny Gaudreau wrister below the circle. So those were the leaders from the postseason. It was a great playoff. Steve, that's the objective look at the entire season. Numbers wise, we went through who won the trophies, the NHL season, the entertainment industry in Canada and the United States now are covering the NHL at the highest levels with the juggernauts in the entertainment industry. But we have so many followers that have listened to us for some time, and we know we'd love to detail the journey a little bit. We don't talk too much about it.
Yeah, we never really get to talk about the stuff. We're always talking about hockey. And some of our listeners way back then, because we did have a fan base back then. A little bit about us, if you didn't know, is that Puck Talk started back in 2015. It was Chives' idea. I remember the day that you came and you asked me that we should do something like this. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. I was like, no way, we could do that. And to flash forward so many years now and to see where we're at this point, I think ourselves from back in 2015 will look at us now and be very proud at the point where we came to. And not only that, because we took a break back in 2018. 2018, we did Puck Talk from 2015 to 2018, and around the fall of 2018, obviously we've talked about this when we came back. Me and you pursued a theatrical film that we did together, and we kind of had to put Puck Talk on the back burner. And then we started college and we started doing some other things. But 3 years later from that initial break of 2018, we are back and we started season 4 of Puck Talk. And there really wasn't one thing that triggered us to come back. Both me and you agreed that we love doing this, and we basically talked every week to each other about hockey. So Chives and I were like, imagine we brought Puck Talk back. And that's how it started. And here we are now. And if you told me a year ago today, Chives, that in a year from now, Puck Talk will be back and we would have brought season 4 back, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we made it to this point, but we didn't give up. We made it and we made it happen. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing moving forward for next season.
Yeah, I think the journey's been great. You know, we were really just kids trying something new. I knew at the time the podcast space was not where it is today. 2015, Spotify, the company, exists. Apple is still running on iTunes. So just for context, we were new to a space that was also new, and we saw an opportunity there. And it's great to see so many other people that have taken to the podcast industry, and it's really become its own industry now, that Spotify and Apple Music run just as much between the music entertainment industry as the podcast industry. And I think what was unique about that was we were doing so many trial and error. We were trying different things. We're going through the process of trial and error as we were younger. And because of that, it's really led us down a path to enjoy it. And as Steve mentioned, we just love talking about it. And I think if you do anything in life where you enjoy something that much, I was at school, Steve was at school, we were gone our separate ways a little bit. We were still in touch. We made 2 movies. We also do all that stuff still, writing scripts and making projects. We just did one in January, which we alluded to when we came back. It was a lot to get things going for Puck Talk. We had to recreate the logo, update the website. We wanted to update the quality of the show, of the podcast, because we were just younger and young kids going through the experiences. But we learned from that, and we know now that as young adults, the quality of it we wanted to improve upon, which is you need some financial assistance with that. Like, we needed to put some of our own money into this, and we're really glad that this season overall, from our start date in January to June, we really did well. So, Steve, what were some of our strengths that you thought we brought into the fold, or that in hindsight now you think were something that helped the podcast this year?
I think, first of all, I think it's a shame that we couldn't start this back up and we couldn't get it going for the whole NHL season. That would have been pretty cool. But again, we started around the midpoint of the season and we came back. Our return was on January 10th. That was when season 4, episode 1 came out. And now, of course, we had 32 episodes in season 4, all the way spanning to June 22nd. And I think what really helped us out, Chives, is we had a steady or an increase in engagement since our return. So meaning when we started originally on January 10th, and February and March and April and May, we didn't really have a drop in the amount of people that was engaging. We were steady, or we even increased that certain amount of points. And I think for us, that is very promising. And, I want to thank you guys, and I know Chaz want to thank you guys too, because, we can't do this without you. And we really do appreciate your support. And this is only going to improve and help us out for next season when we do a full year. And I think that certainly for us and for Puck Talk CS, seeing an increased amount of engagement, whether it's on our Instagram or on our fantasy cast or fast cast or episodes, or even on the Spotify, the website, it was all positive for us. And I think that really helped Puck Talk CS as a whole. So thank you guys.
Yeah, Steve, I think you said everything I would want to in terms of our strengths. You covered how we had a steady increase of engagement from our return on January 10th. It took us a lot to get to that point, to rebrand the website and the logo and really get things going, and to have access to posting on Spotify and Apple Music. We had an increase of production as well. I think the playoffs are always the hottest time of the year, and we love that. It gets us more excited and motivated to make content and also record episodes and share our opinions and thoughts, because we get more engagement out of it. The more we put out, we see the return. And again, it really comes down to that we're thankful that people listen to our opinions and thoughts. And I don't think, Steve, I know you said it, I don't know if I could say it better myself, that even for our production value, like, it's gone up tremendously since then. Like, I think we're always trying new ideas, even showing our faces and doing this type of content. We didn't really try in the minutia of the season. Like, at school, we were making as much playoff content as we could, but we couldn't try new things like this. And we're looking to do so more in the coming season. But I felt those were all the strengths that I could peg. Now, moving on. Oh, Steve,
no, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think adding to that point is that, we just appreciate everybody, even though we know that there's room for improvement and we're going to get there. We know we're going to get there, but we appreciate still, going from fantasy cast to episode to fast cast to Instagram, and really checking us out, giving us some love, and not even that, but engaging with us, because we've got so many fan questions, whether it was emailed to us, whether it was asked on the website in the comment section, or it was direct message to us on Instagram. We got a lot of engagement, and we love talking with you guys and seeing where all you hockey guys out there that are listening, what your opinions are. And we really do like that kind of engagement. So I thought it was great, Chives, and I'd love to channel even more for next season.
Also, just want to throw in there, I love the thank you. I think that's a great note to leave off on, but we'll mention for the slate too. I think special guests were really a hit. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, the important dates for the next season, 2022, 2023. Well, let's start with the NHL draft in 8 days. By the time you hear this, it'll probably be closer. July 7th, July 8th at the Bell Center in Montreal. The Montreal Canadiens possess the first pick as well. So whoever is drafted first overall will be in their own home ice building for the upcoming season. Free agency starts July 13th, 2022. That's coming in hot as well. Things are already heating up for that. And we'll remain as consistent as possible we're aiming for an episode, 2 episodes a week, as well as our fantasy cast. We can't really give an exact time, but that will come closer as we figure out kind of our lifestyle. We'll touch upon that in a little bit, but we'll also have some shorter summer segments. We did some video content for the playoffs, and we're looking to do that again with free agency, the draft, team previews, and things of that nature.
Yeah, and this whole State of the Union it's not like a goodbye until next season. We're still going to be active. We're still going to be putting out episodes during the summer. Again, we're going to stay consistent with 1 episode per week in the summer. They're going to be short summer segments. They're going to have to do with recapping the draft, recapping free agency. But again, it's just not going to be season 4. It will be off-season coverage. And I think that channeling this to our next season, I can't wait for next season, Chops. I know that me and you are crazy hockey fans, but the 2022-2023 NHL season is going to be a fantastic one. This is going to be the 106th season in national in the National Hockey League's history, and it's going to be outstanding. And we're going to be getting the schedule soon too. The schedule is going to be releasing probably mid-July, end of July, early August, around that time. And we're going to have you covered up from the summer all the way leading you up to the preseason and then eventually to the start of the NHL season, which will be on October 11th and 12th of 2022 in the fall. Now, there are few things that I'm looking forward to next season. Like you have the Global Series games from October 3rd to the 8th. And you also have it at November 4th through 5th. We got the 2023 Winter Classic, January 2nd, Penguins versus Bruins at Fenway Park. That's going to be awesome. Great matchup. And then the All-Star Weekend, of course, every year. That's a great experience and a great environment for hockey fans. February 3rd to 4th of 2023 next year. And then how about the Stadium Series, which will be on February 18th, 2023. It'll be down in Raleigh, North Carolina. And those are just some of the things to look forward to for next season. And there's going to be, of course, a ton and tons of unexpected things that come up as the season arises. And listen, Chives and I will be there all along every step of the way to bring the content to you guys. Now, how about this, Chives? We have some hot takes for the 2022-2023 season. Quick take.
All right, I'll start us off real quick. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Lightning are still going to be dominant. They just traded Ryan McDonough to the Nashville Predators, and Philippe Myers will most likely be a captain. What was that for? There always seems to be a move up their sleeve. Sign Andre Palat, and you're telling me he's going to slow down? All they have to do is get in the playoffs. They have the experience. They're able to bring some of these major core players back. They still have Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman under contract. Throw in Palat. Braden Point will be back and healthy. I'm saying they're coming back. The Red Wings, they went back to back. Then it took a few years and they won in 2002. For the Golden State Warriors in the NBA, we saw that they just won a championship this year after a few years of being out of the tournament. So I think they'll come back. And I think in hockey history, we've seen that even the Edmonton Oilers lost in between one of their cup championships, and they're still considered a dynasty. So listen, modern dynasty, if you want to talk about financial things, I think they can still be that. The Oilers fall off is also my other. I don't even think that's necessarily a hot take because Steve and I have talked about that for a while, but we just mentioned how objectively speaking, Leon Draisaitl led the playoffs in assists in the playoffs. Evander Kane led in goals, tied with Nathan MacKinnon, who won the Stanley Cup in 6 games. And Connor McDavid led the league in the playoffs in points with 33, playing maybe 14 games. I'm not a good math guy, but 5 games, first 7 games, maybe played 14 games overall, and he led the league in points, but they never fixed a goaltending issue, and it's not a hot market right now. There's only a few goaltenders that are truly outstanding on the market. They're going to have to improve through a trade, most likely. That's my hot take. Steve, I know you have some up your sleeve because you're always on these. So, Steve, what are your hot takes?
Of course, we in any segment we couldn't do a big grand segment like this and I not throw a hot take out. Notoriously, the Wayne, the Minnesota Wild and of course the Calgary Flames. Those are my hot takes at the midpoint of the season. But moving forward for next season, I'm gonna throw some quick ones at you here. First of all, Alex Ovechkin. He's going to be in for a big season next year. I'm calling it here. You heard it first. Obviously, he's great every year, but I think next season, this year, we've talked about it here before. His production took a little bit of a dip here. I'm calling it next year. He's going to have a monstrous year. And how about the Red Wings, which you just mentioned? Do we know they're on the rise? You just mentioned what they did back a few years ago. Playoffs wild card next year? I don't know. I'll just have to leave it off at that. But of course, moving forward now to our slate for next season, of course, we're going to keep it when we start season 5 back up in the fall when the regular season starts. We are going to keep our one podcast episode per week as a minimum. We're going to include some fantasy casts in there, some fast casts when possible, and some other segments that come along the way that we think of. Fast casts, we are definitely, and fantasy wires are definitely going to be segments that we were trying out. There were new segments that we tried out this year, and based upon the reception from you guys, based upon what we felt and how everyone perceived it, we like it. So we're going to definitely keep those aspects moving into next season. And of course, we definitely we know some of the things that we have to work on, and we are going to try and make better content for you guys. Don't worry, we're already on that. Things like higher quality graphics for our Instagram page, moving some things around on the website. We want to make when you are listening to Puck Talk CS, when you are browsing our stuff, reading our feeds and everything that we put out there, we want to make sure that we are providing you with content that you are going to enjoy and that you are going to have your own experience when interacting with everything that we put out there. So we are going to pick what to improve on, and we will make adjustments for next season. Don't worry. Chives, anything else that you think will be on the slate for next season?
Yeah, the hardest human quality is consistency. The amount of times you see with I call like in the gym, people that say their New Year's resolution is going to be they work out for maybe 2 weeks and then they fall off, right? And I think that the key that we're striving for is we want to strengthen season 5 by being more consistent. And for our listeners, I know Steve and I have talked about this at length, to know when these things are coming out, to know that on Monday you can count on a fantasy wire dropping. And the fantasy wires did so well when they were released on Mondays. That's obviously has to do with the timing of the fantasy hockey week or fantasy any sport week that you can pick up free agents and make trades. So, and it's the end of a matchup the night before. So you get your results from the matchup Monday morning. We would get a plethora of listeners. Probably the most listeners for smaller segments was on those fantasy wires. So that's something we want to bring back, and we want to strive to ensure that when these things are coming and that the look and appeal is stronger coming into season 5. Steve, any last words on that?
No, I couldn't have said that any better. Of course, consistency and content are 2 major things. We know that, we want to make the ultimate experience, because the truth is that there are many other hockey, voices. And that's the great thing about our field, is that there's so many great people to listen to, but we want to make Puck Talk CS different and make it stand out, and we want to make it enjoyable for you guys, the listeners. So consistency and content moving forward will be improved on for next year. And I can't wait till we're starting season 5 and we're dropping the puck for the regular season. It's going to be great.
And before you know it, I feel like it'll be here. And our goals for the next season will also, that's something we're aiming for. That's the slate, what we're looking to do. But behind the objective things of schedule releases and upping content, right? A lot of things are talk, but how do we achieve those things? How do we achieve what we want to do? Well, we're aiming for episodes around 20 to 25 minutes in length, released early in the morning. Those were the most successful. Listen, it's not about success. Steve and I know that. It's about us being able to talk hockey and share with the greater community of hockey. As Steve said, so many voices that we value what you guys have to say in comment sections and fan questions. And we hope you guys enjoy the interaction, because that's really what we're doing this for, is to be a part of a bigger, the bigger hockey community. The regular season, we're looking for one episode per week. The playoff previews we thought that were the most successful, which we're going to strive for again, are those 5-minute playoff previews. I think those were a great way to get information delivered at a quick pace at a time where there's about, 8 matchups in the postseason going on, 16 teams. So there's a lot to listen to. We're looking for 1 to 3 episodes per week for the postseason. Now that's very far down the line, but that's a soft look at what to expect for the entire 2022-2023 year. That's what it can roughly look like, or what you can roughly expect.
And of course, on top of that, again, like we said, consistency with release time, day of the week. We're going to have a schedule for you at the end of August. You will definitely know. Puck Talk CS episode coming this day. Fantasy Cast, Fantasy Wire coming on this day. And you will know when the content is. There will be a clear schedule, so you know when to listen and pay attention for an episode. And of course, content, upgrading that. It'll be all laid out. And again, it's been a great season 4, Chives. Can't wait for season 5.
Yeah, Puck Talk CS, we wanted to also be real here, because goals and the slate are very appealing to talk about, and we're excited for it. The reality is, and with no negative connotation on where Steve and I come from when we speak about this, as well as the strive is for consistency, but we also, we're human, we're young. And the reality is, I'm in my final year of undergraduate, and I'll have to balance my life to ensure I can achieve in all of the avenues I'm pursuing. And this is one of them. So this is something that doesn't come second, but it's something that Steve and I want to be able to put first. And with that, we know that there's going to be things that we have to balance, or things that come up. It's really, I think, the greatest part of the State of the Union that we wanted to open up and talk about how we're balancing certain things with capstone courses, which are really like a thesis for Steve and I's major that we're pursuing. We're still pursuing film opportunities. We'll have our classes. I'll be doing my play-by-play and radio calls for the men's hockey team and the women's hockey team at the school that I attend, the university I attend, which these are all, it's about balancing time. It's about balancing life out and also enjoying the experiences when we can, but it doesn't mean Puck Talk comes second. We want to state, though, that these are goals, and we wanted to make realistic goals, because when you speak, it's really spoken through the action. And we felt that in 2022, we had a really strong comeback, and we felt that we kept improving, and that's what we're looking to do. But there's most likely going to be points where we might plateau, in the sense where there's not as much newer types of content coming out, but more of the same. So the strive is for consistency, and there's some reality definitely in what we're aiming to do with our enterprise.
Yeah, and of course, there's unexpected things. Like I remember this past couple of months in this semester, I got sick twice. I came down with COVID, and I came down with a chest infection. So obviously, when I'm over here coughing and yakking, there's not that much we could do to pump out, high quality episode of Puck Talk. And of course, there's many other things that come up, but we always do our best to pull it back on track and come and bring you guys the content. So again, it was an amazing season 4, guys. Thank you very much. And Chives, it has been an honor doing this past season with you, and I can't wait to continue this next season, because this is a fun ride, and it's not over yet.
Yeah, and I'm glad to say we came back. It was kind of a pipe dream in the fall. We would just text back and forth, as a joke, and say, imagine we did Puck Talk. But I think that's how a lot of things end up happening in life. They just find their way. With our first movie miniseries, I had written a 10-page script in class, and we had the opportunity to make a full-length project that our whole high school could watch. And it became like folk hero type stuff by the end of the story. But Steve and I were joking around then, saying, what if we actually made Sapienza, into the miniseries for next year? And then like we saw that through too. So I think it's really great to be able to speak here now and say like we saw it through from January to where we are now in July, and that we're going to continue. So love to see that we came back and we really followed through with that. It's something that Steve and I love to do. Please, we're going to start plugging now. Our last real opportunity too for this season. Subscribe to the website. We're trying to find a way to get the subscription tab on the home page. It may not be possible with the host monster generator we use under WordPress. With the theme we have, we really like the theme that's available. It has links to our Instagram, Twitter, and Apple as well on the homepage, and our episodes are both archived, and there's the episode post list where all the episodes you can find there. Those are, if you click on an episode, you'll be able to find the subscription tab. And we're hoping that most of our traffic is through subscribers, and we're hoping that we can reach wider audiences by doing so, gaining more fans, different types of fans, and different types of voices. Our Instagram is pucktalkcs_podcast. That's where we try and get the most information out, and our most graphic content comes there. And that's where we'll post that we have episodes coming out on our story and in post form. Our Twitter is mainly auto-generated tweets that send out when our episode is released. And Steve and I know that Twitter is definitely an active environment and community among NHL fans. So that's why we're there as well. Spotify and Apple podcasts are where you can find Puck Talk CS aside from the website here. And that's also an easier way to go on a subscription-based service to find episodes and listen to episodes in the car or through your CarPlay when you're driving, as opposed to having to listen through the website through your phone. So really, we have our website where we have our subscribers. We have our Instagram and Twitter. Our Instagram, we promote the most on with video content and graphic content. Our Twitter is uploads of links to the website and to the episodes that are released. And then we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well.
Yep. And listen, just like how an NHL team at the end of the year, when their season is over, whether they make the playoffs or not, the general manager, the coach, they sit down and they have a meeting with the press, and they basically give their state of the union of the whole year. We've seen teams time and time in the postseason do that. We saw the Rangers do it. We saw the Bruins do it. We saw the Hurricanes do that. Every team does it. And of course, what they say then, and then fast forward a few months until October, and before the first game of the regular season, and the general manager sits down again with the coach, whether it's a new coach or a new GM, they sit down, and when they preview the season, what they said back to recap the season, so many things have changed for the team. So as we are wrapping up season 4 here, and before we start season 5, like me and Chives have just said, there might be things that have changed too. We might change some things along the way here and there, but again, it's for the better of Puck Talk CS. So for the last time, thank you everyone for listening along here. And always remember, it's just the luck of the puck.